You know what? Most of the students who come asking for this IELTS, they are like, "Sir, I want to do IELTS." I'm like, "IELTS?" I know what they mean, right? Okay, but that is mispronunciation of this word. This is not IELTS. Now, see, this is not LET. This is ELT. So it's IELTS. IELTS. IELTS and IELTS. IELTS. S is sound, right? Okay, unvoiced consonant. But that's not the topic right now. So it's IELTS, not IELTS. And yeah, I just want you to pronounce it accurately, right? Okay, because let's say if you end up saying IELTS during that test, then see what impression you'd be given on the examiner. So it's IELTS. Now, you must be aware of what it stands for. If you're really willing to, take this test, it stands for International English Language Testing System, right? I'm like, I don't know the full form. Okay, so International English Language Testing System. This is what it stands for. Why am I sweating? Do you see? Okay, no, that's on. Okay, fine. So, um, yes, now, this is a test of English, which is widely accepted worldwide. Now see what happens when you want to go abroad as a student for your higher education, or even if you're looking for a job, you want to go abroad for a job, or if you want to settle down there all the way, so going there for PR purpose, especially in English speaking countries, then the government or the university or the employer has to be sure that you going there will be able to talk to them in English. So what they're going to do, they have two ways. One is like they can take your interview and during that they can assess. But now the catch is, see, when you go there, it's not that you are just going to talk to one particular national, right? You'd be talking to global people, people from different countries. So they want to be sure that you can understand different accents of English and you can talk to them well. For that, actually, there are different organizations. First, it was started by British Council. That, earlier, British Council used to take care of this test. However, now in India, IDP has taken over, or I would say IDP is conducting this test, at least in India, right? So this IELTS test actually gives them an idea, not an idea, of course, an idea or assurance that, okay, this candidate can talk to people, can understand English and can talk to people well. So they have different band score from from 0 to 9. Of course, you're not going to get 0 because you'd be doing something. I mean, anyone would do that, right? So 0 to 9 band score. So there is nothing called fail or pass on this test. So it's just a band score. Now, certain countries demand 7 band score. Certain countries might demand 8, 7.5, 8.5, and maybe a few countries or university may demand somewhere 9 exactly. So this is what this test is all about. Test of English that actually gives those countries or those university an assurance that this particular candidate is capable of understanding and expressing himself or herself in English. So there are many tests like IELTS, not many, a few other tests, but right now we are just going to be talking about this IELTS, so no other test in the beginning. So that is what this test is all about. So when you want to go abroad, you want to go abroad for different purposes, not as a tourist, right? Again, when you want to hit or when you want to get in a country as a tourist, maybe that is English speaking country, but yet you are not asked for IELTS certification. This is asked majorly in 3 cases: when you are going there to settle down, or for a job, and for like higher education. There are some countries which may not ask you for IELTS certification. So I would not say some. There are a few countries which certainly don't ask. But again, in the same countries, if you go for a well-reputed university as a student to pursue your higher education, then you would be required. Now, at times when you go abroad as a student, particularly, and if you have not cleared or if you don't have this IELTS certifications and this, especially the expected one, then you will be charged a certain extra amount to take enrollment or to get enrolled in that college or university. That does happen, right? So that is the first thing when you want to go abroad as a student, as an employee or as a job seeker, you want to work there, or to settle down there as a PR, for a PR, permanent resident, right? So that is what PR stands for. Now, who conducts this in India? Like IDP, okay. Earlier, British Council used to conduct this test across India, but now IDP has taken over this responsibilities. I don't know how they have got or how they have managed to take it. I was thinking of taking it over. Anyway, maybe in future I will. Jokes aside, let's get in here. So yes, IDP conducts this. Now there are different. What is like when we talk about this test? I believe most of you do know that there are four skills: reading, writing, then speaking. Let's say listening, right? And then comes speaking. Why speaking at the end? Because the test will be conducted on different 2 days. One day you'll be appearing on these three tests one after another: reading, writing, and listening, right? Okay, you'd be going to reading test, which is for 1 hour. Then you'll be going to writing, that is for an hour too. And for listening, that is for half an hour. Now, and then speaking, it's somewhere you would say it is believed like, okay, somewhere between 11 to 14. Let's say you can approximately take it 15 minutes test, but it is stated that somewhere between these 11 and 14 minutes, this is what this test lasts. Now, see, as I was telling you here, right, that when you want to go abroad, that country, that university, or the employer wants an assurance that you could really deal with people around you, or you could understand people, or you could understand text. When you read something, when you listen to others, you should be able to understand, and you can write. Right, so they want to check your efficiency of English language, that how good you are at that language, right? When it comes to writing, how good you are at that when it comes to reading. That's why there are different, like even when you was code, right? When you was code on like that IELTS certifications, so you have different score on each. Separately you was code. You are marked for separately for all these four skills. For reading, you may score like, let's say one could have 8 or 9. For writing, the same person could have 7, right? But even there is an aggregate like score, like which you can say average score. So that's the reason that the different four skills are assessed separately. So these three tests, these three skills, not tests, I'm so sorry. Reading, writing, listening, they will be held on one particular day, and speaking will be held on some different day. Generally, what happens when appears on this test, right? The first, these three skills are assessed, or like you appear on this, and then followed by speaking test. At times, the speaking test might take place before these three skills test, right? But yes, for sure, they're not gonna occur or they're not gonna take place on the same day. So this is the test pattern. This is how the test is going to go. Of course, we'll be diving deeper into each skill, that how you assessed, how many questions are there, what all are there. But I'm just giving you right now an overview. That's what this test is all about. Then if we talk about the fees in here, now see, it differs from countries to countries, or even in the same country. From a city to another, you might find a slight different fees. In India, if we talk about right now, it is going to cost you somewhere between 15 and 16 grand. Grand is like thousand. Grand means like grand finale, so it's not that a grand finale. Grand also means thousands, which is represented in India. We or even worldwide, we do say like 15K, 16K. So between this, somewhere it is going to cost you now. That keeps on fluctuating, right? But not that way, right? Okay, it's just given the uh, market rate, okay, the dollar rate and all. So yes, or pounds rate. Okay, so yeah, that fluctuates a bit, but right now it is going to cost you somewhere between this, and whether you fail or pass, right? Okay, I mean fail pass, as I told you, there is nothing. Why are you making me laugh? Don't do that, okay? Okay, see, so there is nothing called fail or pass on this test. It's all about the band score. How you score between 0 and 9, right? Okay, so 9 is the highest. And you are scored separately on each skill, on reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And at the end, there is an aggregate or a, like average score, like average, it's a 6 band, 7 band. Now, talking about does everyone need to do this IELTS or like take this IELTS test if one is intending or willing to go abroad for higher education, job, or like PR purposes? Not necessarily. More in most of the cases, yes, one needs to do it. But as I told you in initially, that there are a few universities which do not ask you for IELTS, just like a small interaction or conversation, because I believe those universities are not well reputed. And even those countries, if I could tell you, like there are certain countries, I don't want to name them, right? Okay, but there are a few countries and a few universities which do allow students without IELTS, that you need to check with your like counselor or any agency that you are taking support from, if that could be done. But in that case, yes, you are charged a bit higher than the candidates who have appeared on IELTS and they fulfill that criteria of IELTS. Now, talking about what is the ideal score that one should have if you talk about the score. Now, see, for most of the average university, somewhere 7 band score. The minimum it's a 6.5 band score out of 9. That is aggregate, right? Okay. But 7 to be at Zephyrin, 7 will lead you to most of the universities. However, a few, the top-notch universities of different countries, will require a higher band score, 7.5, 8, or 8.5. That might go up to 9 if there is any competition kind of thing. Because now, see, there are several students who are going to apply for the same university, same college. So how will the college figure out? Of course, they're going to have to apply different filters, or they're going to shortlist on the basis of certain things. So the more you have scored on IELTS test, the better it will be for you to get into a well-reputed university. So that's it for now. Is there anything else that I could add as the overview part of this? So now let's sum it up what it is. This is a test of English, which like shows the country or the university that okay, this person knows English this much, or like when the band score represents like whether you were advanced level, proficient, or like you were just intermediate level. So different band score reflects different level of yours or of that particular candidate, that what level he or she has when it comes to English language, and that to like separately in each skill. And it is like conducted in India by IDP. And there, when you talk about the test, that will be on different 2 days. 1 day speaking test only, which is for 11 to 14 minutes, and reading, writing, and listening test, like reading for an hour, writing for an hour, listening for 30 minutes. So yes, this is how it is, and the fees somewhere between 15 and 16K in case of India, and that keeps on fluctuating, so you need to check when you book the test, right? And talking about score, like it is like you are scored between 0 and 9, that we call band score. Band score. So the D is like well speaking, that is dropped, right? That is how naturally it goes. So 6.5 band score is the bare minimum that one should have in order to get into or get in a decent university. 7.5 will lead you to most of the universities. But of course, again, you need to check it with the university that you are going in or that you are applying for, because a few universities do require or do ask for 8 or above band score. So that's all for today. Thank you for being here. See you